The other day, Valitame and Patrick BetDavid had Neil deGrasse Tyson in one of his interviews. And they interviewed this guy, and I'm like losing it. I'm like, Patrick is going to have to forgive me for, I think I was sending him like 1,000, text messages. You're saying, what is wrong with this guy? But I was listening to the whole thing, and here's a couple of things that I want to tell you about that, right? Patrick goes into the conversation literally saying, knowing what we know now. And this guy, by the way, do you know who Neil
absolutely.
is? This guy's a physicist. This is not a lightweight guy. This is a very smart guy, scientist, who immediately threw the scientist card on the table. Listen, I look at information. This is his answer, literally, almost verbatim, right? I look at information from a scientist perspective.
Okay.
Which means I know shit and you don't, right? That was like I just wanted to throw something at the whole thing, right? Yeah. So that started the wrong way. Such an arrogant way. Yeah. He said, I looked at the numbers. He said, I know your concern right now is, well, how many people, because we were talking about the people that were forced to do something. Listen, military personnel. I have some very good friends that are military personnel, right? And they were forced to get vaccinated or you're going to lose your job. And this man spoke about we have a social contract among each other. Right? Which you have the right to die if you want to, but you don't have the right to kill me. Fair enough, right? And he said that he was supporting his position still based on the information that he had, meaning he looked at the facts, he looked at the numbers, he looked at the data, and I'm like, which data are you looking at? Which one? Was definitely not this. This was definitely not out. This was definitely not out. I'm going to package this. I'm going to make sure that Patrick sends this to this guy. Yeah. Because the fact of the matter is that if you're looking at the data, and the fact of the matter is that the data is not out yet fully. We're still going to have a lot of stuff coming out. So this is a big issue. He's saying the fact that some people have to lose their job. It's a small price to pay compared to the lives that we save. We don't know what we save. We don't know. I'm telling you this right now. You cannot make that claim when somebody's saying, well, the people that died, so you really don't know what was the effectiveness of the vaccine.
There's people that killed themselves because they lost their job.
We don't know. We really don't know yet. So for anybody to say, I looked at the data, which one? What were you looking at?
Correct.
Because it hasn't been out. The second thing is, there's a comment that he makes connected to the economy, right? And he said that the money that we have to put into the economy, which I think that Adam wanted to make a reference.
So he's a scientist and an economist?
Apparently he was looking at the data. Well, he looks at the data, you know what I mean? You say what I mean? So he's trying to support, which immediately tells me what your political position happens to be. And you certainly, Mr. Tyson, you're not looking at this from a financial perspective. You were not looking at numbers. You were definitely not looking at the economy. This had definitely a political angle. You know what I mean? When he's saying, well, what did you want them to do? They have to put all that money into the system to avoid a real estate or market collapse in general. What do you think is happening right now? And all we managed to do was to get eggs to be 100 times more expensive than they were, because by pouring that much money into the system is precisely, Mr. Tyson, as you create inflation, right? That when there's so much money circulating, that's when everybody says, hey, wait a minute, I can sell you this same can that before I had to sell you for 49 cents, now I can sell it to you for $1.50. And guess what? You have enough money to pay. The problem is that when you run out of that money and that can still at $1.50, that's a problem, right? Which now is $3. So I definitely have an issue when people make blanket statements like this. The numbers are not out. The economy has a lot of moving parts, always has, always will. And we know that when you put that much money into this, so two very bad statements made by a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
Who am I to question?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
So there's this video that this guy made. His name is Ray Dalio, and it says how the economy machine works. You should watch that. It's like a 30-minute video. I'm not being sarcastic, for real. It shows you exactly how inflation is.
By the way, that goes for everybody.
It's a suggestion for everybody. But Mr. Tyson, if you're listening, please.
So for me, just my little comment on this, I actually don't believe in science as much as most people believe in it. Not even a little bit. And the reason why is because, the truth is that science is more of a process than telling you correct information. So if I go through a process to prove my point, that doesn't mean that's the ultimate truth. And so even with the numbers, we've gotten different numbers from different sources. So even if I were to take a scientific approach, we got doctors saying one thing on one side and a doctor saying another thing on another. And these are both professionals, went to school. So then it's like, so which science is the real science? That's the problem. So obviously I'm joking. I believe in science, but the problem is
from
is
the
that,
Alexis point of view. He's looking at it from the Alexis point of
so
view.
the problem is, like, and I think you said it, is that what happens when somebody decides to highlight only certain numbers, or what happens when somebody decides to say, okay, my science is more important than your science. It's like, which science is the real science, because there was a lot of, I don't try to pretend that I'm a doctor, but when I hear a doctor or someone who was working on creating the vaccine telling you that there's an issue with the vaccine, I think we should listen to that individual. You get what I'm saying? So then it definitely, I think there's definitely political views involved in a lot of what a lot of people were saying revolving around COVID, because they don't want to take blame for certain things.
Correct.
They don't want to make it look like they weren't being proactive with certain things. Because like you were saying, you're like, somebody's got to take accountability. But then here's the problem. This is a big group of individuals that's making decisions. So then how do you put blame on one individual versus another, or which group do you decide to say, oh, it's your fault versus another person's fault? And then, so I understand what you're saying. Somebody should be held accountable, but who?
Somebody.
But it's not.